Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening and call to order the July 21st, 2026 meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals to order. Melanie, would you call the roll, please?
Chairman Malutis?
Here.
Ms. Andriano? Here. Mr. DeCamilla?
Here.
Mr. Hartwig?
Here.
Mr. Jensen?
Here.
Mr. Tayo? Mr. Wexler?
Here.
Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any items that have either been added or removed from our agenda this evening? I will make an announcement that the agendas show to be determined under old business, and we do have one item of old business tonight. That's 3640 through 3660 Dewey Avenue, Morgan Britton LLC. That'll be on for one item of old business. Anyone who intends to address the board, we encourage you to do so, but we ask you to do so in accordance with the town's policy for decorum of meetings of public boards. That policy is posted here in the conference room wall and is available at the town clerk's office, and it's also available online. We are also live streaming this on the Town of Greece YouTube channel, so you'll be able to watch it after tonight if you want to see it again, or just be aware that this is a live stream going out tonight. And finally, anyone who does receive a favorable vote on their application, we ask that you wait for 1 week from today to give our staff time to transcribe the minutes, and convey it to the permit office so that when you go for your permit, you're all set with everything you need from this board. So that 1 week from tonight before applying for your permits. With that, I'm going to start off with old business. I'm going to call the first item, the only item under old business, 3640 through 3660 Dewey Avenue. We had this hearing. It was held for 2 previous meetings. We closed, we reserved, and we're on for tonight for decision. And Mr. Wexler, are you prepared for tonight?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chairman.
Then proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Whereas Morgan Britton LLC, the applicant, owner of the property located at 3640 Dewey Avenue in a Dewey mixed-use zoning district, appeared before the Board of Zoning Appeals requesting a use variance to permit a professionally managed, climate-controlled indoor self-storage facility within the existing approximately 75,400 square foot former Wegmans building. And whereas self-storage facilities are permitted principal uses only within certain industrial zoning districts pursuant to 211-18 or by special use permit within the flexible office district pursuant to 211-18 and are not permitted uses within the Dewey mixed use district. And whereas the board conducted duly noted public hearings on June 16, 2026 and July 7th, 2026, during which the applicant, its attorneys, consultants, representatives, members of the public, and town staff were afforded a full opportunity to present testimony, documentary evidence, and comment regarding the requested use variance. And whereas the board reviewed the application materials, environmental assessment forms, financial documentation, marketing information, site plans, correspondence, supporting exhibits, and all testimony presented during both public hearings. And whereas the board also considered the comments and recommendations from town staff, the Monroe County Department of Planning and Development, the town attorney, and members of the public. And whereas the board has carefully reviewed all documentary evidence and testimony submitted into the record and has reviewed the evidence in accordance with the standards governing use variances set forth in New York State town law And whereas the board has independently reviewed all testimony, documentary evidence, exhibits, written submissions, and public comments presented during the proceedings and has made its own findings upon the record as a whole and secret determination, the board finds that the proposed action constitutes an unlisted action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, the Seeker Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law, and implementing regulations contained in 6 NYCRR Part 617. The board carefully reviewed the environmental assessment forms together with maps, plans, testimonies, reports, and supporting documentation submitted in connection with the application. The board finds that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts requiring the preparation of an environmental impact statement. Now, therefore, it is to resolve that the board hereby issues a negative declaration to seeker. So moved.
Second.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Mr. DeCamilla?
Yes.
Ms. Andriano?
yes,
Mr. Hardwick?
Yes.
Mr. Jensen?
Yes.
Chairman Miludis?
Yes. Please proceed with findings of fact.
Continuing with the findings of facts, the board recognizes that a use variance may be granted only upon satisfaction of the statutory criteria set forth in New York State Town Law, and that the burden rests upon the applicant to establish unnecessary hardships through competent evidence. The board further recognizes that its determination must be based upon the evidence presented in the record and the applicable law, not on the speculation regarding future market conditions, hypothetical redevelopment scenarios, or potential future tenants not supported by competent evidence. After reviewing the application, environmental assessment form, supporting materials, written submissions, documentary evidence, testimony presented at the June 16th and July 7th public hearings, and all comments received, the board makes the following findings of facts. Regarding the property, the subject property is located at 3640 to 3660 Dewey Avenue within the Dewey Mixed Use Zoning District. The subject property consists of a single tax parcel containing an existing approximately 75,400 square foot principal commercial building, together with separate outparcel buildings, parking areas, access drives, and related site improvements. The use variance approved herein applies only to the principal commercial building and does not apply to any outparcel buildings located on the property. Number 3, the principal commercial building was specifically designed and constructed as a single large format retail big box building and possesses a depth, floor configuration, and overall layout subsequently different from traditional neighborhood retail storefronts. 4, approximately 13,868 square feet of the principal commercial building is currently occupied by CSL Plasma. The remaining 61,532 square feet of vacant floor area, including the former Big Lot and Goodwill spaces, is the subject of this application and has remained vacant despite extensive marketing efforts. Number 5, the record contains substantial evidence demonstrating the continuous and extensive efforts to market the vacant portions of the property for conforming uses. Number 6, those efforts, including marketing through commercial brokerage programs, including LoopNet and Crexi, district broker outreach, inquiries generated through commercial listings, and discussions with numerous prospective tenants representing a broad image of commercial uses, including retail, grocery, school, hospitals, office, cannabis-related businesses, restaurants, and other commercial enterprises. Number 7, the board finds the applicant's marketing efforts were extensive, undertaken over multiple years, and directed toward both conforming and potentially permissible commercial uses. Number 8, despite those efforts, no conforming tenant has been secured to the majority of the building. Regarding financial evidence, number 9, the applicant submitted financial records covering approximately 5 years of operation. Number 10, those records demonstrate that the property has experienced continuous financial losses totaling approximately $387,000 during that period. Number 11, the board finds that the submitted financial information demonstrates that the property has failed to produce a reasonable return under its current permitted uses. Next, unique characteristics of the property. Number 12, the board finds that the hardship affecting the property arises in significant part due to the unique physical characteristics of the existing structure. Number 13, testimony established that the building was designed as a single large format retail building, approximately 225 feet in depth. Number 14, testimony further establishes that a subdivision of the building into smaller retail storefronts would require substantial reconstruction, would leave large portions unsuitable interior space, and would significantly increase redevelopment costs, as would not reasonably result in a viable conforming commercial layout. Number 15, the board finds that these physical characteristics distinguish the property from the more traditional neighborhood commercial buildings within the Dewey Avenue corridor. Regarding existing market conditions. Number 16, the board received testimony regarding significant changes in the commercial retail market since the construction of the building. Number 17, testimony established that demand for large format retail buildings has substantially declined and that the prospective commercial tenants increasingly seek significantly smaller retail spaces than those for which the building was originally designated. Number 16, the board further received testimony regarding comparable commercial properties within the town and surrounding area demonstrating similar difficulties in leasing large format commercial buildings. Number 19, while changing market conditions alone do not establish unnecessary hardships, the board finds that such evidence relevant when considered together with the building's unique physical characteristics, financial evidence, and extensive marketing efforts. Next, restrictive covenant. The board considered testimony regarding the existing restrictive covenant affecting grocery use at the property. 21, the evidence presented established that although the restrictive covenant limits certain potential grocery uses, the inability to lease the building may not have been shown to result solely from the existence of the covenant. Number 22, the board finds that numerous hypothetical redevelopment concepts and potential future tenancy scenarios were discussed during the hearings. No competent evidence was presented demonstrating that such alternatives were reasonably achievable under existing marketing conditions or that they would provide the applicant with a reasonable return while maintaining conforming uses. Accordingly, the board's determination is based upon evidence presented in the record rather than speculative future possibilities. Number 23, the board finds the restrictive covenant constitutes one factor affecting the property's marketability, but is not standing alone the basis for this continued use variance. Existing building. Number 24, although the applicant requested approval for the principal commercial building, the board finds that minimum relief necessary consists solely of permitting self-storage within the 61,532 square feet of vacant floor area within the existing approximately 75,400 square foot principal commercial building, as identified on the plans submitted with the application and approved by this resolution. The remaining 13,868 square feet of principal commercial building is occupied by CSL Plasma and is not included within the approved self-service storage area. Number 25, The board recognizes that the portions of this building are currently occupied by existing lawful commercial tenants. Nothing contained in this approval affects the continued operation of existing lawful commercial tenants. The approved self-storage use is intended to operate independently while utilizing the existing commercial or the existing common parking, access drives, circulation system, and infrastructure serving the shopping center. Any further expansion of the approved self-storage use beyond that presented to the board shall require any approvals required by town code. Number 26, no expansion of the building footprint, increase in gross floor area, or construction of additional buildings is proposed as part of this application. Number 27, the board finds that this proposed use will utilize the existing building configuration, parking areas, access drives, utilities, and other existing site improvements without requiring significant interior site modifications, or exterior site modifications, excuse me. Number 28, the applicant represented that the proposed facility will consist of approximately 400 to 500 climate-controlled indoor self-storage units of varying sizes, together with a leasing office and assorted management space. Number 29, the applicant represented that the proposed operation will include an on-site leasing office, employ approximately 3 employees, and maintain management availability on a 24-hour basis. Number 30, the applicant represented that the enclosed refuse collection facilities will be provided to serve the approved use and to minimize the visual impacts associated with future or with refuse storage. Number 31, accordingly, the board finds that the requested relief is limited solely to the permitting the proposed self-storage facility storage use only within the approved 61,532 square feet of vacant floor area, which is within the principal commercial building as shown on the plans submitted with the application. Public interest. Number 32, the board considered all testimony presented by the town staff, the applicant, consultants, and members of the public. Number 33, the board finds that the interested persons were afforded a full and fair opportunity to be heard. Number 34, the board finds that the record developed during the public hearings provides an adequate evidentiary basis upon which to evaluate the application under the standards governing use variances contained in New York State town law. 35, the board finds that the proposed facility will incorporate enhanced security and surveillance systems as represented during the public hearings, which are expected to improve the overall security of the property. The board finds that the proposed climate control indoor self-storage facility constitutes an adaptive reuse of an existing large format commercial building that has experienced prolonged vacancy and allows continued productive commercial use of the property without expansion of the existing building. Number 37, the board finds that the evidence presented is sufficient to permit meaningful application of the statutory criteria contained in New York State town law, and that the record before this board is complete for the purposes of rendering a determination. With regard to the application of the statutory use variance criteria, in considering this application, the board has independently reviewed all documentary evidence, testimonies, exhibits, public comment, and recommendations received during the course of the proceedings. The board has not adopted the applicant's conclusions, but instead has evaluated the credibility and weight of the evidence presented and has made the following findings based upon the record as a whole. With regard to New York State town law, section 267B, In evaluating this application, the board considered each of the 4 statutory criteria required to establish unnecessary hardship and makes the following findings. Number 1, the applicant cannot realize a reasonable return provided that lack of return is substantial as demonstrated by competent financial evidence. The board finds that the applicant presented competent financial evidence, including approximately 5 years of operating statements demonstrating that the property has failed to realize a reasonable return under uses currently permitted within the Dewey Avenue Mixed-Use District. The evidence established cumulative operating losses of approximately $387,000 during the 5-year period preceding the application. The board further finds that these losses are not temporary fluctuations, but represent a sustained inability of the existing building to generate a reasonable economic return through permitted use despite substantial and ongoing marketing efforts. The board finds that the applicant's extensive marketing efforts, considered together with the financial evidence and the physical characteristics of the property, constitute reasonable and competent evidence supporting the application. The applicant also demonstrated that the vacant portions of the building have been actively marketed for conforming retail, commercial, office, institutional, medical, educational, grocery, restaurant, and other potential uses through commercial brokerage firms, electronic marketing platforms, district broker contacts, and industry outreach over extended period without successfully obtaining replacement tenants for the majority of the vacant space. Based upon the competent financial evidence and the record as a whole, the board finds that the applicant has demonstrated an inability to realize a reasonable return under permitted use and that the first statutory criteria has been satisfied. Number 2, the alleged hardship related to the property is unique and does not apply to a substantial portion of the district or neighborhood. The board finds that the hardship demonstrated by the applicant arises primarily due to the unique physical characteristics of the existing structure. Unlike typical commercial buildings within the Dewey Mixed-Use District, the subject building was specifically designed as a single, approximately 75,400 square foot large format retail building having unusual depth, floor configuration, and structural layout. Testimony established that these characteristics substantially limit the building's adaptability to multiple smaller retail tenants without extensive reconstruction and significant economic investment. The board further finds that testimony demonstrated that the conversion of the existing structure into multiple smaller conforming retail spaces would require substantial demolition, reconstruction, and redesign while leaving a significant portion of the interior functionally unusable because of the building's depth and configuration. The board further finds that these physical characteristics are not common to a substantial portion of the Dewey Mixed-Use District. Other commercial properties within the town may experience vacancies from time to time. The board finds that the size, configuration, construction, and physical characteristics of the subject building are significantly distinct, that the hardship is unique to this property and is not generally applicable throughout the Dewey Mixed-Use District. Accordingly, based upon the entire record, the board finds that the evidence is sufficient to satisfy the second statutory criteria. Number 3, the request of the use variance, if granted, will not enter or will not alter the essential characteristic of the neighborhood. The board finds that the proposed professionally managed, climate-controlled indoor self-storage facility will occupy the interior of an existing commercial building and will not require expansion of the building footprint, significant exterior alteration of the site, or a substantial physical modification of the property. The proposed use will continue the commercial utilization of an existing commercial property within the established commercial corridor and will utilize existing parking, access drives, circulation, utilities, and size infrastructure. The board also considered testimony concerning traffic, neighborhood compatibility, surrounding commercial usage, and the operational characteristics of the proposed facility. After considering all testimony presented during both public hearings, the board finds the proposed use as conditioned herein will not produce a substantial alteration to the essential character of the surrounding neighborhood, nor create a detriment to the nearby properties. Accordingly, based upon the evidence presented, the board finds that the proposed use will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood and that the third statutory criteria has been satisfied. Number 4, the alleged hardship has not been self-created. The board carefully considered the testimony regarding the acquisition of the property, the existing restrictive covenant, changes in the commercial retail market, and the physical characteristics of the building. The evidence presented demonstrates that the physical hardship results from the existing building size, or the principal hardship results from the existing building size, configuration, declining market demand for large format retail buildings, rather than from any affirmative action undertaken by the applicant to create the present circumstances. Testimony further established that the building was acquired within existing commercial tenants, and that subsequent changes in the marketing conditions, including the departure of major tenants and diminished demand for large retail space, substantially contributed to the current hardship. The board also finds that while the restrictive covenant may limit potential users, the evidence does not fully establish that the covenant alone created the hardship or prevented the property from achieving a reasonable return. Accordingly, based upon the record before it, the board finds that the hardship is not self-created in a manner that precludes the granting of a use variance under town law, section 267B. Finding regarding minimal relief. The board finds that the requested use variance constitutes the minimum relief necessary to afford the applicant reasonable use of the property under the unique facts and circumstances permitted. In reaching this determination, the board considered the scope of the requested relief and whether the approval could be tailored to constitute the minimum variance necessary based upon the evidence presented. Based upon the record, including testimony regarding the building size, configuration, leasing history, financial information, marketability, and the physical characteristics of the existing structure, the board finds that the requested relief is limited to permitting the proposed self-storage use only within the 61,532 square foot vacant portion of the existing approximately 75,400 square foot principal commercial building as identified on the plans submitted with the application and incorporated into the record of this proceeding. The board finds that the requested relief does not include any expansion of the existing building or authorize any increase in the scope of the approval beyond that presented to the board. Accordingly, the board concludes that the approval granted herein represents the minimum use variance necessary while preserving the intent and purposes of Chapter 211 of the town law. Scope of the approval. Nothing contained in the resolution shall authorize any increase of the gross floor area of the existing principal commercial building, any expansion of the existing principal commercial building footprint, construction of any additional buildings, any use variance applicable to any out parcel building located on Monroe County tax parcel number 06010 2-1. Any self-service storage use within the 13,868 square foot portion of the principal commercial building occupied by CSL Plasma or within other occupied tenant space not specifically approved herein. Any expansion of the approved self-storage beyond the 61,532 square foot area approved by this resolution, any outdoor storage of customer property, vehicles, commercial vehicles, boats, trailers, recreational vehicles, shipping containers, contractor equipment, or similar materials, and any material to the approved use without further review and approval as required by the town code. Consistency with the public interest. The board finds that permitting the proposed self-storage or self-service storage use within the approved 61,532 square feet of vacant floor area within the principal commercial building will allow reasonable utilization of a long vacant commercial space without requiring expansion of the existing building or substantial alteration to the site, while preserving the existing site layout, parking, circulation system, and surrounding commercial character. The board finds that the proposed use as conditioned herein will not create an undesirable change in the character of the surrounding neighborhood, adversely affect nearby properties, or impair the orderly development of the Dewey Avenue corridor. The board further finds that the unique facts and circumstances presented by this application granting the requested use variance as modified by the board is consistent with the purposes and intent of Chapter 211 of Town Law because it provides only the minimum relief necessary to address the demonstrated hardship while protecting the public health, safety, and welfare. Resolution. Now, therefore, it is resolved that after reviewing the entire record, including all testimony, documentary evidence, application materials, environmental information, and public comment, and after applying the standards set forth in New York State Town Law, Section 267B, the Town of Greece Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants the requested use variance as modified by the board to permit a professionally managed climate control indoor self-storage facility within the 61,532 square feet of vacant floor area located within the existing approximately 75,400 square foot principal commercial building as identified on the plans submitted with the application and approved by this resolution, subject to the following conditions. Number one, approved area only. This approval authorizes the operation of a professionally managed climate control indoor self-storage facility only within the 61,532 square feet of vacant floor area depicted on the plans submitted with the application and incorporated into the record of this proceeding unless otherwise approved by the board. This approval does not authorize self-service storage within the approximately 13,868 square feet of CSL Plasma tenant space, any other occupied tenant space, or any out parcel building located on the property. Consistency with the application. The approved use shall remain substantially consistent with the application materials, plans, testimony, occupational descriptions, and representations submitted to and relied upon by the board during its review of the application. Any material deviation from the approved operational characteristics or site layout shall require further review by the Town of Greece Board of Zoning Appeals unless otherwise authorized by the town code. In the event of any conflict between the application materials, plans, testimony, operational descriptions, or this resolution, the Town of Greece Board of Zoning Appeals shall determine the applicable interpretation as part of any future application or enforcement proceedings. Number 3, no outdoor storage or display of commercial property vehicles, trailers, boats, recreational vehicles, shipping containers, contractor equipment, refuse materials, or similar items shall be permitted on the property as part of the approved use. Number 4, customer access to the individual storage units shall be limited to the hours of 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days per week. Access outside of those hours shall not be permitted unless authorized by further resolution of the Greece Town Board of Zoning Appeals. Management. The facility shall maintain management personnel available on a 24-hour basis for emergency response and operational issues. Number 6, on-site leasing office. The facility shall include an on-site leasing office for customer service and management functions substantially consistent with the application materials presented to the board. Number 7, refuse storage. All refuse collection shall be in the screened or enclosed shall be screened or enclosed in accordance with all town requirements and substantially consistent with the application materials presented to the board. Number 8, no expansion. The approval shall not authorize any increase in gross floor area, expansion of the building footprint, construction of additional buildings, or expansion of the approval use beyond the existing structures unless otherwise approved by the Town Greece Board of Zoning Appeals in accordance with Town Code. Number 9, Planning Board approval. The approval must submit an application to the Town of Greece Planning Board for review and obtain all approvals required by the Planning Board, including site plan approval if determined necessary by the Planning Board, prior to commencing the approved use. The applicant shall comply with all conditions imposed by the Planning Board. Nothing contained herein shall relieve the applicant of compliance with any conditions imposed by the Planning Board or any other agency having jurisdiction. Number 10, the fire marshal occupancy. The maximum occupancy of the facility shall not exceed the limits established by the New York State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Codes and the Town Fire Marshal. Number 11, applicable permits. The applicant shall obtain all permits and approvals required by the Town of Greece and any other government agency having jurisdiction prior to commencement of the approved use. Number 12, compliance with applicable laws. The approved use shall remain in compliance with all applicable federal, state, county, and town laws, regulations, codes, and ordinances, including but not limited to New York State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Codes of the Town of Greece Code. Number 13, successors unassigned. The approval shall run with the land and shall be binding upon the applicant and its successors and assigns, provided that the use remains substantially consistent with the approval granted herein. Number 14, future expansion. Any expansion of the approved self-storage facility use beyond the 61,532 square feet approved herein shall require further approval by the Town of Greece Board of Zoning Appeals. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. So moved.
We have a motion to approve with conditions. We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Let the record show that when it refers to the town law or code, it also has chapter and verse section also listed in the resolution. And in item number 9, planning board approval, I think the first word is applicant. The applicant.
Yes.
And the second accepts it.
Yes.
Are there any other discussions? Hearing none, Melanie, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Mr. DeCamilla?
Yes.
Ms. Andriano?
Yes.
Mr. Herwig?
Yes.
Mr. Jensen?
Yes.
Chairman Miludis?
Yes. The application has been approved as noted in the resolution with conditions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I missed some of that. Do you mind reading it again?
That's why we stream it. You can watch it on YouTube.
Thank you very much for your time and effort.
Okay, that concludes our old business. We now move into the new business section of our agenda. All items on the agenda this evening have been advertised in the Daily Record, which is an official newspaper of the town of Greece, and where necessary have been referred to county agencies for their comments and recommendations. As I call the items this evening, we ask that you come forward, give us your name and address for the record, come to the podium and sign in with your name and address so that we know who we're talking to. And we'll start off with item number 1, Robert Schroeder of 157 Alfonso Drive.
Yes, I am Robert Schrader. It's R-A-D-E-R at 157 Alfonso Drive.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about what you're trying to do here.
About 2 years ago, I was having a vinyl fence installed around my entire backyard. And between the time the estimate was made and the time that they actually did the project, I decided that I would like to extend that fence a little bit into the front yard to provide a backdrop for my landscaping, which I had installed the previous year. Also to protect the landscaping from the lawn service next door, which was throwing grass clippings 3 and 4 feet up into my mulch bed and detracting from the appearance. So I had them extend that vinyl fence 12 feet at a 4-foot height in front of the house. And not knowing that the vinyl in front of the house would be against code. To the fence person's credit, they put in the permit application for a chain link fence. It was not communicated to me at that time that that's what they had done. But I had no idea that it would create an issue. And I apologize to the board. If I had known ahead of time, I would have asked for the variance beforehand. So it's an appearance thing. Most of my neighbors have approached me and say how much they enjoy the way my yard looks and that fence. They think it looks great. I've had no negative comments.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. DiCamillo.
Thank you. Mr. Schrader, how long have you lived at 157 Alfonso?
For 30 years.
30 years? Okay. Let's see. And this fence is, you'd say, is probably about 40 feet or so from the sidewalk, from the road?
30, 40 feet from the sidewalk, yeah.
All right, so it's not impacting any visibility or for pulling out of driveways, coming around corners, anything
No,
like that?
there's only driveway that's close to it is my own. And then there's a side street, Cabot Drive, on the other side. There are fences that I can see from my front yard that are 6 foot high right up to the sidewalk because they're the backyard of a corner lot. And I can see them from my own front yard, so I can't see where mine would be a visual problem in that respect.
And would altering or removing this fence be a financial hardship?
Oh, it definitely would. I paid a lot of money for that fence, and I'm pretty well tapped out at this point.
I don't believe I have any further questions, Mr.
Are
Chairman.
there any other questions from the board? Do we have any correspondence from any agencies or neighbors or anything?
We do not.
Is there anyone in the audience wishing to be heard on the application of 157 Alfonso Drive? 157 Alfonso Drive. I see no one coming forth. Mr. DiCamillo, are you prepared if I close the hearing?
I am, Mr. Chairman.
Then I'm going to close the public hearing on 157 Alfonso Drive. Mr. DiCamillo, for a motion.
Tonight, July 21st, 2026, Robert Schrader appeared before the Board of Zoning Appeals to request an area variance for an existing 4-foot-high closed construction vinyl fence, 12 linear feet, to be located in a front of a corner yard instead of the 4-foot-high 50% open construction fence permitted. Mr. Schrader has lived at 157 Alfonso Drive for about 30 years now. This fence was installed around 2 years ago as part of a larger project to enclose his entire backyard. This segment of fence was installed to create sort of a frame and protection for his landscaping, which helped to increase the visual appeal of his property. The fence was originally permitted to be chain link rather than vinyl. However, Mr. Schrader was unaware that the closed construction fence in the front yard was in fact against the code. To remove the fence at this point would cause a financial hardship for Mr. Schrader, and he has expressed that his neighbors have shown approval for the appearance of the fence. Having reviewed all the testimony and evidence as just summarized in the findings of fact, and having considered the 5 statutory factors set forth in New York State Town Law, Section 267-B, and finding that the evidence presented meets the requirements of this section, and having found that there is no significant detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community, and that the benefit to the applicant is substantial, and having found that this is a Type 2 action under CEQA regulations, requiring no further action by this board, I move to approve this application with the following conditions. Normally, I would say that all permits be applied for, but since the fence already exists,
I think he has to close out the permit now that he has variance.
with the following condition that the permit be closed out now that once the variance is obtained.
We have a motion with conditions, second by Mr. Hartwig. Any discussion? Hearing none. Melanie, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. DeCamilla.
Yes.
Mr. Hartwig.
Yes.
Ms. Andriano.
Yes.
Mr. Jensen.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Chairman Malutis.
Yes, your application has been approved as noted.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. By the way, that fence looks nice. That fence looks nice. Application number 2 this evening is that of Molly Bradley of 143 Pebbleview Drive.
Hi, Molly Bradley, married name Smith, 143 Pebbleview Drive. This is my husband, James Smith.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
James Smith, 143 Pebbleview Drive as well.
Tell us a little bit about what you're here for.
Yes, sir. So we had a shed 12.3 by 8.3 feet in our backyard when we moved to the house 7 years ago. Over the 7 years, it started to deteriorate and become like a home for birds and bees. So this past summer, I decided to take it down, and we had a contractor come put a new shed, same size in the same spot. We weren't aware that the previous shed was not permitted, and we figured that since it was there, we could build one the same size in the same spot, and we would be in compliance.
So it's essentially just a replacement of what was there at the same location.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Wexler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening.
Good evening.
So this new property, basically you're just taking the existing footprint and you put this new thing up. Now, it's already up right now, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So apparently you didn't know that, or the contractor, whoever put it up, didn't realize that they needed the variance for this. Is that what brings you here tonight?
Yes, sir. It was on our original, which you guys have up there, drawing of our house, as well as it was on the Monroe County website as one of the improvements of our property. So we were
Okay.
sure that it wasn't permitted.
Okay, now how long have you guys lived there?
7 years.
7 years, okay. So if you were to be in compliance and actually move that structure, would that be considered a financial hardship?
Yes, sir. We got quoted about $5,000 just to move it the 3 feet over. So
Yeah.
that's more than the shed cost.
Okay, that makes sense.
If I can interrupt you for a minute, is there a way that we can get this back feed? If your mic is on,
Nobody's got a problem other than.
No?
me and-
I think it's just, here, I'll try to move it, I'll move it over here. Yeah.
I mean, that's the only way.
Okay,
Then
This
you can turn
microphone
it back
is
on.
off of that
yeah,
speaker.
I just moved it, so it might be better now. Yeah. That's all right. All right, so the only thing that I've got is, because it's very close to the existing property. Have you talked to the neighbors that live at that address?
Our neighbor hasn't said anything about it. We haven't spoken to him.
Okay.
We have a fence there, so.
Okay, so so the fence is there and that kind of, and none of the water, the runoff is going to drain onto that.
No, so
Property.
it's not an A-frame. It's like a lean-to, so all the water drains off the back.
Oh, off the back, okay, okay. There's no electric there, right?
No, there's no
Okay,
electric.
okay. Okay, I don't have any other questions at the point.
are there any other questions from the board?
I believe we have correspondence though on that. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
that's the next question. Do we have any correspondence?
We do.
You want to cover them?
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, turn your mic
Okay.
on.
This is from 149, so this neighbor. I'm writing regarding the variance application scheduled for the July 21st Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. I'd like to thank the town's code enforcement staff, particularly Joe, for taking the time to visit my property, inspect the situation firsthand, and explain the permitting process to my fiance and me. His willingness to answer our questions and explain the reasoning behind the town's decisions help us better understand the process and what to expect moving forward. My purpose in submitting these comments is not to oppose my neighbors personally, but to share my concerns as an adjoining property owner regarding the requested variance. I understand that the board is considering only the shed variance, and I respect that. My concern is that this project as a whole has left me with little confidence that it was thoughtfully planned. The shed fence and deck were constructed before permits were obtained, and permits were only applied for after I raised concerns with the town regarding the fence. The project extended over 6 weeks and affected both neighboring properties. From my perspective, there was little consideration given to neighboring properties. While I understand the proposed shed is located along the opposite side property line rather than directly adjacent to mine, I remain concerned about how close it is to the surrounding structures and how little space exists between the shed and the fence. Although my property line is on the opposite side of the yard, I worry about the long-term implications of approving a reduced setback. My concern is not only for maintenance and accessibility, but also for the overall placement of permanent structures in such close proximity. I respectfully ask that the board consider whether reducing the required setback is appropriate under these circumstances. The construction process itself raised concerns. During the project, the contractor entered my property. Do you want me to continue with this part? And removed my fence gate, even though another access point was available, moved personal property without permission, and left concrete debris in my yard after the work was completed. While I understand these matters are not necessarily zoning issues, they contribute to my concern that the project wasn't completed with adequate planning or consideration of neighboring property owners. I recognize that the board's responsibility is to evaluate whether the requested variance meets the legal standards established under New York State law. I simply ask that in making your decision, you consider the impact that granting a reduced setback may have on neighboring properties and whether the requested variance is truly necessary.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have any other comments from any agencies, county or otherwise?
Based on that letter, I have a question for staff. Do we find that this particular request is fairly common? Have we approved quite a few other cases like this?
Yes, especially for shed setbacks from property lines.
I'm going to ask, is there anyone in the audience wishing to be heard on the application of 143 Pebbleview Drive? 143 Pebbleview.
Mr. Chairman, quick question. So does it butt right up against the fence?
No, sir. There's about maybe 2 feet of space over there. I need my lawnmower back there.
Okay, so
My
you-
dogs run around, they run around the whole thing, so it's not right up against the fence.
And you're, yeah, so there's, you can weed whack or cut
Oh,
grass
yeah,
and clean it.
Yes, sir.
And you're aware of that, if this was to be approved, that it would have to meet the fire code, since it's within 5 feet. You need to have drywall placed into the building department. When you go get your permit, we'll give you all the particulars that need to be met to meet the code, just so you're aware that
Yes, sir.
that could happen. And is it what kind of base is it on?
So it's crusher run rock there, and then it's set on top of that.
Okay.
So-
All right. And then the regular typical wood floor? and-
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Just a clarification, the shed is not up against the house.
But it's within 5 feet of the property line.
Oh, the property line you're referencing, okay. All right, good. Any other questions or concerns with the board? I'll ask one more time. Anyone in the audience wishing to be heard on 143 Pebble View Drive? I see no one coming forth. Are you prepared with a motion if I close the hearing?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chairman.
Then I'm going to close the hearing on 143 Pebble View and Mr. Wexler for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This evening, Molly Bradley Smith and her husband, James Smith, appeared before this board. They reside at 143 Pebble View Drive in a single-family residential district. They're requesting an area variance for a proposed accessory structure shed, a 12.3 by 8.3 or 102 square feet within or with a 2.4 foot setback from the west property line, where 5 feet is the minimum side setback permitted. Now I'll hence to read 20 pages of documents. Just kidding. The applicant has resided at the property for 7 years. They had a deteriorating old shed in that exact location, and to improve the property, they removed the existing shed and had this new shed built by a contractor in the existing footprint. At that time, it was not known by the applicant that they should have been 5 feet from the side setback. However, in order to remove the shed or move the shed in any way, take it down and reassemble it to be in compliance would be an undue financial hardship. There is no existing problems with drainage. There is no electricity running to the shed. There was some concern by a neighbor who had written about it. However, because he is basically removing an existing deteriorating shed and put this new shed in place, it represents an overall approval of the property. Having reviewed all the testimony and evidence as just summarized in the findings of facts, and having considered the 5 statutory factors set forth in New York State Town Law, Section 267B, and finding that the evidence presented meets the requirements of this section, and having found there is no significant detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community, and that the benefit to the applicant is substantial, and having found this is a type 2 action under seeker regulations requiring no further action by this board, I move to approve this application with the following conditions: that all permits be applied for and adhered to, and the applicant apply or comply with all building codes and codes related to the fire code requirements for this property. So moved.
We have a motion with conditions. Do we have a second on that? Second. By Mr. Adriano, any discussion?
Can we put a condition on there'll be no utilities?
Okay. No utilities, I'll add.
Second, accept that.
Second.
You want to the life of the shed?
Yes.
Life of the shed
Yep.
also? If the shed were ever to go down or be destroyed or something like that, we propose that you get back into compliance.
Yes, sir.
Erecting a new shed.
Yes, sir.
So, second,
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
Very good. Any other discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none, I'll need you to call the roll, please.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Ms. Andriano?
Yes.
Mr. DeCamilla?
Yes.
Mr. Hartwig?
Yes.
Mr. Jensen?
Yes.
Chairman Miludis?
Yes, your application has been approved with those conditions noted.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Application number 4 this evening is that of Honest Renovations LLC, Paul Kirk, 193 Straub Road. Is that applicant here?
Number three is next.
Oh, wait, did I skip the page here? I did, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, let's back up. Number 3, Aaron Tanuk. Tech, okay, thank you. 2382 Edgemere Drive, okay.
Yes, Aaron Tank, reside at 2382 Edgemere Drive.
Tell us a little bit about what you're here for.
As many of you probably know, in 2017 and 2019, Edgemere Drive experienced some pretty severe flooding from elevated lake levels. During that flooding, pretty much everything on what the town considers the front of my house, so the lakeside, was essentially destroyed. I mean, our landing for our stairs, our break wall. We had a fence on the west side of our property that had previously received a variance that we put up. And over the past 10 years or so, we're putting it back together. Over the course of that, we took a landing that was at the bottom, at our sliders, at our sliding doors in the back of our house, and expanded it, and also put up a gazebo, which I wasn't aware required a permit. The town made that very clear when I talked to them. I came in to get a new variance for the fence, and they identified the other two, that the landing was big enough that it constituted a deck. It's just a small or a very low height stairs out of our house. So I'm here to resolve the deck and gazebo issues, and then also for the variance for the fence. There was some discussion when I got when we were talking about the fence, that since I had a variance, that I shouldn't have to do it again, but there was some debate whether it was for the life of the property or the life of the fence. So I leave that to the board, obviously, to determine.
Very good, thank you. Ms. Adriano?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. Thanks for your patience tonight. So, all right, so just to reiterate what you've already stated here, that you've already got these structures up, okay? You experienced some severe flood damage. A lot of people, it's very unfortunate during those years, and you've been making improvements. In the course of making those improvements, you expanded the area of the step out from your house, which now qualifies as a deck. Okay, so that's one. And then you added the gazebo, what's the reason for the gazebo?
Just to provide some cover.
Okay.
Seating area.
Enjoying lake life?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
As we put it in, we made sure that it didn't go past the front of the house, because we are very conscious of not impeding on our neighbors' views. Actually, the neighbor to our east in 2376, I think only joined me today. She offered to come in. So if you have any questions for her, feel free to ask about the quality of the work, or whether or not it impedes any use or anything like that.
with regard to the neighbors, so that's one particular neighbor. Any comments from other neighbors?
No. The fence was already there, or was there previously, so no real concerns there. It had been up for about 40 years, I believe, before it was destroyed in the flooding. And then for the neighbor on the west side, there's really no visual impact whatsoever, because you can't even see the gazebo from their house.
Okay, and have we gotten any comments at the town?
No.
Okay, and so no negative comments, any positive comment? I mean, generally, any good comments?
I mean, it's really nice.
Okay.
It's a really nice area, so we keep our yard, I
Okay,
would say, exceptionally well kept, so no, nothing.
yeah, you do have a beautiful property. You did have, so going back in 2013, you did have some variances on record. And so you had one for the 6-foot high fence. So you think that there was some confusion about whether or not it was for the life of the fence, so you might as well tack it on as long as you're here and get a new variance.
I came to the town to specifically ask about that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when the debate started. And I was like, well,
Okay.
just sign me up and we'll get
we'll get it on there. Okay, so that's the third one. And I was wondering about that too, why we had,
It's for the life of the.
For the fence.
Yeah.
Okay.
so it's,
Myself.
well, like, given the location, these will probably likely be for the life of the structures as well, so. And how many years have you, I mean, obviously you've been there at least 13 years. How long?
20 years.
20? Okay. All right, that's it.
Any other questions from the board? Do we have any other comments from the county or anyone else?
The county didn't have any relevant comments, they mentioned the DEC, but they don't.
And DEC's not involved with us?
Yeah.
Is there anyone in the audience wishing to be heard on the application of 2382 Edgemere Drive? 2382. I see no one coming forth. Ms. Adriano, are you prepared if I close the hearing?
Yes, sir.
Then I'm going to close the public hearing on 2382 Edgemere Drive. Ms. Adriano for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Whereas the applicant, Mr. Aaron Tank of 2382 Edgemere Drive in an R1E Single Family Existing Zoning District appeared before the Board of Zoning Appeals on July 21st, 2026 to request an area variance for a proposed accessory structure, 12 by 12 gazebo for 144 square feet to be in the front yard of a waterfront lot where accessory structures, including decks, are permitted in rear yards only. B, an area variance for a proposed accessory structure, 20-foot by 8-foot deck for a total of 160 square feet, to be in the front yard of a waterfront lot where accessory structures, including decks, are permitted in rear yards only. And C, an area variance for a proposed 6-foot-high closed construction fence of 10 plus or minus linear feet, to be in the front yard of a waterfront lot instead of the 4-foot-high open construction fence permitted. Findings and facts include the following. Mr. Tank explained that he has been at this property. He's owned this property for 20 years. He constructed, following the flooding that was experienced along this area in 2017 and 2019, they had severe flood damage, and he's been making improvements to his property since that time. He added a gazebo and he expanded the step out area from the house, and it now qualifies as a deck. It's requiring permit. He did not know he needed these permits. We had a variance on record for the fence permit, but it was for the life of the fence, so we are, redoing that permit today. The neighbors have not provided any comments to the board. Or to Mr. Tank. The reason for the projects, not just to improve his property and to, increase the size of a step-out area, but to be able to enjoy the property and lake living, to have the gazebo, a nice covered area to enjoy the lake. He built this gazebo consciously with respect to the neighbor's view of the lake, to not impede the neighbor's view. I didn't ask staff. These are common requests for this area. So I did confirm that with staff. And these are, the projects are actually, very nice. I visited the property, and they're very attractive structures. Having reviewed all the testimony and evidence as just summarized in the findings of fact, and having considered the 5 statutory factors set forth in New York State Town Law Section 267B, and finding that the evidence presented meets the requirements of this section, and having found that there is no significant detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community, and the benefit to the applicant is substantial, and having found that this is a type 2 action under secret regulations requiring no further action by this board, I move to approve the application with the following conditions: that the applicant has obtained all required permits, and that the approval is for the life of the gazebo, the fence, and the deck. So moved.
We have a motion to approve, second by Mr. Wexler. Any discussion? Hearing none. Melanie, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Andriano?
Yes.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Mr. DeCamilla?
Yes.
Mr. Hardway?
Yes.
Mr. Jensen?
Yes.
Chairman Miludis?
Yes, your application has been approved as noted. Enjoy the improvements. Now we can go to number 4, Honest Renovations LLC, Paul Kirk of 193 Straub Road.
Good evening, board. My name is Paul Garrett, Honest Renovations, for 193 Straub Road. We're looking for variance to build a garage. The garage will be attached to the house with a mudroom, roughly 16 by 9 size mudroom. The garage itself is 50 feet wide by 24 feet deep, with two garage doors, and some additional storage space on top. The reason for the garage is the property was built on slabs, and there is no basement in the current house currently. There's no attic space, so storage is very tight. It's a family friend that lives inside the property currently, and he has 3 kids and a wife that they're having trouble with storage. The property itself is, the garage that we're proposing is a little shy of 21 feet in height, 20 and a half feet. It sits 10 feet back from the property line and sits about 70 to 72 feet, roughly 71 feet from the north neighboring lot line on the north end. No trees will be removed with the installation of the construction of this garage and one room. It's maybe some branch will have to be cut back. Other than that, rough time we're thinking it's going to take roughly 2 to 3 months to build, depending on weather and construction material. I will be the point of contact on site, so if anybody needs to reach me, I will be the GC on the job itself, on the garage. There is some, if you look on the aerial view, there are some pavers that are stored close to the corner of the property. Those pavers were purchased previously at wholesale. So once the garage is built, the plan is to have the pavers installed in the courtyard over there. So that's on the west end. And drainage, so all the drainage would be going to the west of the property, towards the back where it's very swampy and wet already as it is there. Pretty much.
Okay, as a point of clarification, are you the contractor or are you the homeowner?
I'm the owner and the contractor. Yes.
Oh, you are the owner of the property. Okay. Very good. With that, Mr. Hartwig.
Chairman, good evening. How long has Honest Renovations LLC owned this property?
A little bit shy of 2 years.
2 years. And what is causing the need for the garage at this time?
Storage space.
Okay,
It's built on slabs, so the current house, it's very old. There's no basement and there's no attic space. For storage, there's one pantry, probably 2 feet by 3 feet inside the house. That's about it. So for Christmas decorations, kids' clothes, and there's really no storage space.
okay. Now I see that this garage is 200 feet above code. Is there any possibility that this can be reduced in size to accommodate code?
We really want it for the vehicles themselves, and plus the oldest son is going to be 16 soon, so they're going to have 3 vehicles eventually, and they want to be able to store their vehicles inside the garage and plus have that extra additional storage space.
Okay. Now, the next question is, just curious, what is going to be placed in it? I could see that there's a plan where there's 2 cars that are going to be placed in it.
Yeah, 2 cars, and then the plan was to have shelving between, so from the mudroom into the garage, between the garage doors would be like shelves built out for storage boxes and any of his tools and equipment.
Okay, shelving for tools. What type of equipment?
It's just like a skid steer and small, bobcat.
Oh, okay. Just out of curiosity, where are these items being stored now?
They're just in grass.
Oh, so this is going to enhance the appearance of the property.
Yes.
Okay,
A
so,
lot of this stuff will be there. And maybe even some of the firewood too. Some firewood that's out in the open.
and you mentioned the height of the garage. There was a plan here that was so small I couldn't see it. It was
Yeah, so
approximately
it's a little
21,
shy of 21 feet.
21 feet?
Yeah, it's like 20.
Now, I just want to confirm, we see attic space there. Now, the sole purpose of, this is for storage?
Yes.
Storage. Are there any plans, or do you have any plans to maybe convert this into habitable or livable space?
It's just gonna be unfinished. There's no insulation even going in. So once the garage is done, it should be electrical installed.
Okay, the next question is what utilities? Just electric?
Yes. No plumbing.
Will the exterior match that of the house?
Yes. So vinyl, gray siding.
And roofing?
Yes, and the black onyx roofing shingles.
Okay.
National.
Need to ask this question with the garage of this size. Do you have any intentions to run any commercial activities out of this location? Next question is, if we approve this variance runs with the land. So that I was just wondering, would you allow town inspections to confirm that there'd be no commercial activities taking place and also that the loft is only used for storage purposes? That's in case if you sell the property, you want to make sure that the person that you sell the property to also is conforming with this. Have you spoken to your neighbors about the project?
No, to one neighbor that's actually joining us today.
Okay.
It's red. Oh, sorry, there you go. Do we have to repeat everything?
No.
No, good.
So once again, just to quickly summarize, the need for this garage, number one, is for storage space because the house does not have any basement or attic. And that the cars that are currently planned for this garage are now being stored outside.
Correct.
So you would like the cars in an indoor type situation, which will also enhance the appearance of the property. I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any other questions from the board at this time?
How big is the lot that this is going to be on?
I think it's a little bit shy of an acre.
Okay, so it's a pretty big,
Yeah, it's a good sized lot, yes.
and there's trees all around it?
Yes.
So you probably couldn't see this from Straub Road if you were driving by?
No, maybe a small portion of it, but no, you
The
shouldn't.
trees covered?
It's gonna be pretty far in, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions from the board members?
Oh, sir.
I know that we've got a correspondence that came in. I'm going to ask, is Susan White or Terry Smith here in the audience?
Susan White.
Susan White? Do you want us to read this letter into the record, or are you going to address it?
I hope that you all have seen the picture.
Yeah, we do. Okay, then I'm going to ask Melanie, or not Melanie, I'm going to ask Lisa to kind of go over the letter.
Please see below for questions we would like addressed regarding the garage variance at 193 Straub Road, either before or at the meeting on Tuesday, July 21st at 7 PM. The map of the survey provided with the neighborhood notification we received indicates the existing house is 122 feet from the south lot line of 195 Straub Road. That is incorrect. One 25-foot measurement was taken from the south lot line of 195 with a 25-foot tape, and 25 feet comes to the south end of the gravel pile, pictures below. The actual distance from 195 south lot line to the existing house is more likely closer to 70 feet. With that said, what is the exact distance the two-story garage will be from 195 south lot line? The map indicates the garage will be 10 feet 10 inches from the west lot line of 193. There are no dimensions provided for the proposed mudroom. Will someone please confirm the exact distance from the west lot line? There was no height dimension provided on the map for the two-story garage. Exactly what is the height at the peak of the two-story garage? Will any trees need to be removed to accommodate that height? How will the structure impact drainage to the surrounding lots? What is the duration of the build? We expect that care will be taken with construction vehicles going up and down the loose gravel driveway. If there are any issues, who do we contact about this? What is the long-term plan for the existing materials and equipment that have been on the property at 193 for over a year? Do the owners of 193 have permission from Zero Straub, owner of the property west of their lot line, to store various items, materials, plastic tank, wood pile, etc., that have been there for over a year? Recently, the items were moved further south from initial location, but still a bit of an eyesore and not on their property. Thank you for your time. Let us know if you need further clarification. Susan White, 195 Straub Road, Terry Smith, 199 Straub Road.
Thank you. I'm a little confused because we have a stamped drawing here and the dimensions that she talks about from the south lot line show 57 feet to the house. So I'm not sure where that's coming from. But I think the board has got to consider the stamp drawings that we have that show what the exact dimensions are. Do you want to respond to any of that? Most of that you've
Yeah, I
covered
can.
already in your opening comments.
Yeah, I can respond to all of them. I mean, this survey was done not even a year ago by certified by State of New York surveyor, which does a lot of work in the Home Monroe County. So I'm not sure if she meant by her south line or the south of our property line of 193, because it is the corner of the house sits about 57 feet back from the south property line of 193 Straub Road. But from her south bordering line to the garage, it's going to be about 71 feet, which totaling to the house currently is 122 feet.
But it is not.
Well, wait a minute.
Can I speak or no?
We have to get you up here when it's time.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So
Anything
it's,
else?
and then I can answer, the other ones I did answer, but it is a 10-foot setback, which is by code allowed for the west property line. That's the rear of the garage. And everything else that was mentioned, most of all the stuff that's shown in the pictures or that's stored outside will be stored inside the garage after it's built. That's why also the additional space.
Okay, very good. You know that the drainage and everything has got to be contained on your property or
Yeah.
metered off?
Yeah.
Can't run, okay. All right, any other,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question, the gravel driveway, you own the gravel driveway?
Yes, it's an easement. We have an easement to the property,
Okay. How wide is it? Just, I'm curious.
maybe 12 feet, a little shy, maybe 11 feet. I don't know.
How wide is that easement?
It's within the easement, everything.
How wide is it, is the easement?
Maybe 12, right around there, 12, 14, give or take. I don't have the papers with me, so
About 12 feet on or about?
give or take, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
okay, thank you. Now I'll ask, is there anyone in the audience wishing to be heard on the application? Do you want to speak? Come on up, give us your name and address for the record and sign in.
Susan White, 195 Straub Road. So I took the measurement, you see the picture with the 25-foot. My house, my family room is 125 feet to my back lot line. So I know what 122 feet looks like. And my back lot line to the front of that house is not 122 feet. So if anybody can come and measure that, I would be appreciative of it, because the garage, if it is 122 feet and the garage is 50, then yes, it would only be 70 feet. But no, it's going to be 10 feet, I think, if I'm lucky, beyond my lot line. So I need somebody to come out and measure the distance between my fence, my back lot line, and the house, because it is not 122 feet.
So you're saying from here, this lot line here to here is not what's on the survey map?
So this says 122 feet is where is the house.
So from here,
I'm thinking they're saying that 122 feet from my lot line to their house. And I'm saying it's not even close. It's 50 feet up, 70, if that. So this is the egress that I believe this property owns. It's my understanding they pay taxes on that. They own that property. This is a right-of-way driveway for them to get to this home. There's no way that the house is all the way back here from my lot line. No, I'm thinking the house is probably closer to here, so the garage is going to be here, And they'll be lucky to hit the, what is it, min or max of 10 feet from my lot line that the garage can be in the town of Greece.
So I can't answer that right now, but as I'm not a certified land surveyor, but I know that this person is, and they work in the town a lot, so.
Okay, but can you just, if you just look at that picture with the measuring tape, does that make any sense to you that where the measuring tape ends, which is 25 feet, and where the house is, there's a transit van, which is probably 17 feet long, that is not 122 feet. I'm sorry. My backyard from my family room is 125 feet, and that is not the distance to the front of the house. So my concern is, where is the garage going to end up from my lot line? And you can see my view next to the shed. So maybe nobody from Strawbro can see the garage, but that's all I'm gonna see.
So,
21 and a half feet high.
so just to clarify, you're challenging the numbers on the map? Like, just so if I'm following up on this?
Yeah, I'll be happy to witness whoever comes back and measures from my fence to the front of the house. And then tell me how far away the garage is going to be from my lot line.
I have a question. How long have you owned your property?
Almost 19 years.
So when you undoubtedly had a survey drawn when you purchased your property, do you still have a copy of your old survey? I mean, I don't want it, just asking if you have it. Okay, so you have one. Does it disagree with this survey that's just a year old?
Well, this is my property. Like, it wouldn't have 193
So how did you
on it.
determine your lot line when you made your measurements? Did you use that survey for your measuring point?
So I walked to the back of my yard. I took a 25-foot measuring tape and took a picture of that.
So you just know where your lot line is, so you've measured from your lot line?
I can see.
I'm just asking.
So when I look in my backyard, I don't even know how long is this room? It's, I don't know how else to say it. I would like something measured to prove that it's 122 feet and that the garage is gonna be 70 feet or 50 feet from my property line and
So-
not 10.
So you're saying, just to help me out, I apologize. So from the back of your home to your lot line, you're saying it's 122 feet?
125 feet from my family room,
Okay.
124.35.
So I just did something here. I took my piece of paper here and I went from the back of your home to your lot line. You said it's about 120 feet. And I then went from the front of the house to the lot line, and it matches pretty equal to the distance from the house to the lot line to your house. I'm just kind of looking at the picture. I'm not a.
And I
surveyor,
appreciate that. But I would really like someone to take a measurement.
Take a measurement of what? Take a measurement of your property?
My lot line
Your property
to the
or
house.
the applicant's property?
My lot line to the house on 193 and tell me that it truly is 122 feet, and then tell me how far the garage is going to be from my back lot line. Because I don't think there's 122 feet to begin with.
Okay, do you have any other issues or questions beyond what your letter said?
So if the mudroom is 16 by 9, sorry. And how far out from the house is the mudroom, and where does the garage attach to it? Meaning, is it going to add depth? So the 50 feet that's coming towards my lot line, is the mudroom adding on 9 feet or 16 feet? So it's actually gonna be longer than 50?
I have a question for you. So, do you oppose him building a garage at all, or do you just oppose where he's placing it?
I need to understand where it's being placed. Because
Okay.
I, again, don't agree that it's 122 feet from my lot line.
Okay, but my question was, do you
And
oppose
then-
him building a garage or do you
I
oppose the
don't-
location?
I
of
don't
it?
oppose him building a garage. Obviously, I'd prefer it on the other side of the house, but
So
I
if the-
understand why they're doing it. My concern is, do I have any say whatsoever? Okay, so the variance is what, they're over by what, 304?
200 feet.
But the garage is 24 by 50. They're also adding a mudroom that's 16 by 9. That's not part of the, Total square footage?
It's attached to the house, it's not part of the garage.
but the garage, so because the garage is only attached to the mudroom, it's not an attached garage, is that?
No, it is an attached garage.
Okay. So it's attached. So it's just 50 feet and I don't have to worry about the mudroom for the length? Because the garage is at the house? So then I only have to worry about it, the mudroom coming from the house and then the garage going out. So that means it's 10-10 from the west lot line. I want to be sure I understand where it's going to fall on my property. And I guess I can, until I'm blue in the face, it doesn't matter. They're not going to change the size of it. They're not going to change the location of it. So are you saying it is what it is and deal with it and it's 200 square feet and what are you going to do? They're not going to change the size. It's not going to really change it if they shorten it. My main concern is where's it going to land? And that's all I'm going to see. And it's
If you
a
don't
little
mind me
upsetting.
asking, I'm trying to understand what you actually oppose. I understand you're trying to understand the criteria here and the details, but I'm not clear on what you oppose.
We just want to know where it actually is. I mean, even
So you
if I
don't oppose it, you
it-
just want to know you want to understand the criteria better, but you don't oppose it.
Well, and if I do, I mean, they're gonna do it anyways. You know what I mean? I mean,
But do
I'm
you?
sorry, I don't
We're
really
just,
want
we're
the
trying
garage
to,
there.
trying to understand your
I've
position.
enjoyed peace and quiet for almost 19 years. And now I don't. So the garage will help with the equipment in the yard that I've been seeing. I don't know if Zero Straub is here to say, yeah, they're okay with the stuff in their yard, but you got almost an acre. Why do you have to put your stuff on somebody else's yard? And then the garage is gonna be in my face. What's gonna be between my lot and the garage if it's 10 feet? Are we sure we're not gonna have any equipment there or anything else that I've been looking at?
So I guess just to clarify, from our perspective, he's only here for the variance for the size of the garage. He's not here because of the setback. However, if you're challenging the map, are you challenging the setback, the feet of the setback? Is that what you're challenging?
I guess I am, because we're saying that if it's 122 and that's 50,
Stamped map.
it's 70 from my lot line.
So can we make this?
I don't think it's 70 from my lot line when it's finished.
Could we make this conditional that the garage will be so many feet back from the property line? Because it's already up. Right, right.
We're just talking about 200 square feet.
Right.
Exactly.
That's it.
Okay.
200 square feet, nothing else. That's all we're talking about.
So I guess my question is to staff, could we have the applicant stake where the garage is going to be proposed
Okay.
and then have someone measure it from that point to the property line, or is that, I guess we have certified map that has been stamped, which is a reputable firm within the town, unless it's just something that you would want to clarify with the
I can
surveyor.
Call them. I know no one on our staff would override a stamped map. So, but yeah, if he wants to stake it, stake where you're gonna put the garage.
Just time and weather, I mean, that's the one thing we're trying to race against now. with putting it up. I don't want to go into the winter building this thing.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I think the board's got to consider the plan that we have, that's the stamp plan. And I think we act accordingly, and Mr. Hartwig is right. We're only addressing the square footage. So we deal with the square footage issue, and I think that the approach would be is to ask the staff to make contact with the surveyor just to confirm that dimension. Now, whether he wants to go out and recheck it again, or if he says, no, I've checked it and that's the dimension. But all this board can really deal with is the plan that we have, which is a stamped surveyor's drawing that shows what these dimensions are.
And it's within allowable setbacks, there's no problem with setbacks.
The setbacks are not an issue. It's just a question of the square footage of 200 square feet.
And in the past, for this size lot, which is just shy of an acre, with this size is we, in this neighborhood area, we've passed these before, so it's not like we're going down a road, of this size.
Well, 200 square feet is not unusual.
No, not unusual.
And it's just under an acre, like it's.
Just a shape,
Yeah.
9.91
Yeah.
acres, something like that.
Are there any other questions or concerns from the board? Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to be heard on this application? 193 Straub Road. Sure, come on up, sir.
My name is Kenton Osborne. I'm a resident at 196 Straub Road, living there for over 27 years. And what I noticed that Mr. Paul redoing the location, I think it's a good thing. And I think he should get the permit.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank-
Your last name again?
Osborne, Osborne,
O-S.
Borne, yes. Yes, I kind of familiar with the location, so you're doing a great job.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Are there any other questions from the board? I'll ask one more time. Anyone in the audience with any questions on the application of 193 Straub Road? If we can get the applicant back up again, please. You've heard the neighbor's concern, and she's challenging whether or not these numbers are right. Would you maybe coordinate with Lisa, with your land surveyor, just to be sure that these are accurate numbers?
Sure. And there's plenty of space. I'm not sure where the numbers are coming from, 10 feet. There's going to be plenty of space there. And the mudroom's not going to change anything. The view from her backyard is going to be the 24, which she's going to see in the side of the garage. It's not going to change anything.
Yeah. Okay, and again, this board's not concerned with setbacks, so I don't want to tie this up with trying to measure out everything. We're dealing with 200 square feet we're talking about. Any other questions or concerns? Well, Mr. Hartwig, if I close the hearing, are you prepared? I mean, let me ask this of staff. Lisa, do you see any reason that we need any more information from the surveyor on what we have?
We use certified stamped plans, and I would hate to start questioning
Yeah,
them. Just,
for an approval process, I mean, and again, we're dealing with, I mean, if it's a foot off, it's a foot or 2 foot off, it's still not changing 200 square feet.
right, it's a square footage. I guess when you stake it, you could just make sure that it's the correct setback from the appropriate setbacks from where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, there's plenty of
Yeah.
space.
Right.
Okay, then, Mr. Hartwig, you're prepared if I close the hearing?
Yes.
Then I'm going to close the public hearing on 193 Straub Road. Mr. Hartwig for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honest Renovations LLC has submitted an application relative to 193 Straub Road, requesting an area variance for an attached garage, 24 feet by 50 feet, 1,200 square feet, where 1,000 square feet is the maximum gross floor area for all accessory buildings and attached garages, for lots 16,000 square feet up to 1 acre in area. This evening, Paul Kirk came before the board, who owns both the property and Honest Renovations LLC. He mentioned that he has owned the property for approximately 2 years. Since the existing structure, the house on the property, does not have a basement or an attic, additional storage space is needed. That is the reason why this garage is being constructed, is for storage space and also to place 2 vehicles that are currently outside in this structure. The structure will also contain shelving for tools and a skid steer. The height of the garage, you mentioned, will be a little under 21 feet. There is an attic to be constructed in this garage. However, it will be used solely for storage, and there are no plans to convert that space into habitable or livable space. The only utility that will be run to the garage is electricity, and the exterior siding and roof will match that of the house. There will be no commercial activities located in this structure. And the owner, Paul Kirk, has said that he will allow town inspections to confirm, once again, that commercial activities are not taking place and that the loft is to be used only for storage purposes. There were 2 neighbors that came before the board this evening to discuss this application. Susan White, located at 195 Straub Road, had concerns relative to lot dimensions, possible tree removal, roof height, and items being stored outside. There was also a second individual, 196 Kent Osborne, who resides at 196 Straub Road. He agrees with the proposal and thinks that it is a good project. Staff will contact the surveyor who did the stamped plan to review that plan and to confirm that all the dimensions on the plan are accurate as stated. Having reviewed all the testimony and evidence as just summarized in the findings of fact, and having considered the 5 statutory factors set forth in New York State Town Law, Section 267-B, and finding that the evidence presented meets the requirements of this section, and having found that there is no significant detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community, and that the benefit to the applicant is substantial, and having found that this is a Type 2 action under SEQA regulations requiring no further action by this board, I move to approve this application with the following conditions: that all necessary building permits be obtained and town codes satisfied, that the garage will not exceed 1,200 square feet, and that the applicant has allowed town inspections of the property to confirm that there will be no commercial activities run and that the loft space will strictly be used as storage space. And the only utility being run to the garage will be electricity. So moved.
We have a motion with conditions. Do we have a second? Thank you, Mr. Wexler. Any discussion? Just on the findings of fact on that last sentence that you had in there, could you consider amending the findings of fact to include a statement that says this application is dealing with an area variance for 200 square feet, not setbacks?
Yes. Yes.
And the second accepts that? Any further discussion? If not, Melanie, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Harwig?
Yes.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Ms. Andriano?
Yes.
Mr. DeCamilla?
Yes.
Mr. Jensen?
Yes.
Chairman Maleta?
Yes, your application has been approved as noted.
Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Application number 5 this evening is that of Chelsea O'Mealy of PJ's Pals Childcare and Center.
Good afternoon. My name is Chelsea O'Mealy. PJ's Palace Child Care Center, 55 Hoover Drive.
Good. Tell us a little bit about PJ's.
Absolutely. And again, I want to thank you all for giving me the consideration to review my application. I am applying for a special use permit. I am the owner and director of PJ's Palace Child Care Center. I first founded this child care center in 2023. I was running it as a licensed program out of my residential home. My wait list continued to grow. I continued to build wonderful relationships with families, many of them wonderful families. And I am now seeking a larger facility. I'm basically ready to expand my business, and I chose 55 Hoover Drive as the perfect location. And I just need a special use permit to continue with the process. I've been working with OCFS, Department of Health, Town of Greece, and I just need the special use permit as one of my final components before I can open.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, good evening, Mrs. O'Mealy, or Ms. O'Mealy.
Yeah, thank you.
First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
What great news that your business is doing so well that you've been able to expand. So congratulations. It's a lot of hard work. And thank you for your patience because you've waited a long time tonight to get up here.
No problem.
So I just have a few questions for you, okay? I want to confirm that your hours of operation, it's on the application, will be Monday through Friday, 7 to 6.
That is
You're not planning to expand those hours?
I am not.
Okay,
No.
and in the, in your whole future vision, I want you to answer these questions, okay? So you don't anticipate ever expanding into the weekend or expanding later in the evening?
Unless demand requires it, it would just be the current hours.
Well, I'll tell you what you don't want to do is you don't want to have to come back here to expand your special use permit. So we want to make
Okay.
sure that you cover
Okay,
yourself for future expansion. So
Yes.
I know that, I have 3 children of my own, and at times when you couldn't get to, pick up on time, there would be a late pickup policy. But how are we doing with the 6 p.m. here? Do we need to expand it to cover anything like that? What is your policy?
Past history, I've been doing really well with it, but I would probably be interested in expanding it and making those adjustments.
Okay, so I just want to make sure again that we're covering you for what your needs will be.
Right.
So what would be the maximum, even if your stated hours for families is 6?
Right.
For our purposes, if you have to have staff there later than 6, we got to make sure the permit covers that, okay? What's the latest you envision your employees being there till?
We would say maybe like 9 p.m.
9? Okay,
Yes.
because you got cleanup and stuff to take care of?
Yes.
All right, so
Yeah.
let's make sure that we cover it and we get you covered through that, okay?
Yep.
So even though your operation will be 7 to 6, we'll have the special use, we would have the special use permit, cover you until 9 p.m. for additional cleanup, for, any needs that the staff may have to be there, to cover families, late pickup or whatever.
Correct.
Okay?
Okay.
And then, it's morning
Right, I
time.
would
When
like
do your
to-
staff arrive versus, because I'm sure 7 is when you first allow people to drop kids off, but the staff isn't walking in the door at the same time, right?
Correct. Yep. I would assume maybe earliest arrival would be 5 a.m. maybe if necessary.
Okay.
So I'm assuming a 24-hour, just 24 hours is not granted. But yes, 5 a.m. would be reasonable.
Okay. And you don't anticipate expanding to weekends, though?
It's possible.
You think so? Okay.
For future, long-term, yes, but currently, yeah.
Currently, no.
It would be a no.
It could possibly maybe be a Saturday with things going on with families and things like
Right.
that. Probably a Saturday would probably be a chance would probably be open. While Sunday's more of a family type of a day.
Correct, yeah, I would
Do
say.
you ever have any other kind of activities on a weekend, like cleanup, projects,
Other than myself, again, it's just been myself, I haven't had those necessarily staff and families. But if there was like a annual like barbecue or something, maybe that would be
like
fall under
some
that.
kind of a picnic for families? Even if it
Yes.
was just administratively, if
Right.
our applicant needed to work on the weekends in the facility, we would need to have the special use permit cover her for that, wouldn't we? Yeah. So what hours do you want to extend to into the weekend? You want to just keep it to the 5 AM to 9 PM, Monday through, 7 days a week?
Yes, 7 days.
Okay, and then,
I need to.
your actual hours of operation stay with the Monday through Friday, 7 to 6?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then maximum number of employees. So you've got 5 to 7. So I want to make sure that this would be stated so that you would have a maximum, you'd have no more than so many people at a time working in the building. Do you think that that's 7, or do you want to, again, accommodate for growth? And do you think you'd ever need more than 7?
For growth, to accommodate for growth, and per OCFS, what they would license me for, I'd probably, we could go up to maybe, because I would double the infant room if needed, toddler room, that's 4, and then we've got the 8. I would say maybe look up to 15 employees, the upsides of 15.
Okay, so you'd possibly need 15 employees
Yes,
on a shift
correct.
to cover potential growth in the future.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
but at this time,
Mhm.
you're not expecting to have more than 5 to 7 people per shift.
That is correct.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. And that's my questions.
Any other questions from the board?
In the packet, is I see a note from the fire marshal, with the inspector, is that all been taken care of?
You just need to come up to code or whatever.
Code, whenever it is.
Fire, yeah.
Through the
I think they do a final walkthrough.
final walkthrough?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you have your work list for that. You're-
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
One thing that concerns me. The one thing that concerns me is by changing the number of employees, the review that so far has been made by the town has been predicated on what she submitted. So any approval that you give would have to be subject to meeting all the necessary codes. For example, parking. I don't know if additional parking is going to be required for up to 15
Yeah, I
people.
don't know, the spaces outside right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that any approval should be conditioned on meeting all necessary town codes.
Yep, and property maintenance code, building code, accessibility requirements, federal, state, county, local, the fire marshal, Department of Public Health, OCFS, any other agency having jurisdiction.
Exactly, but again, so far, the comments that we've gotten are predicated on what the application is,
Right.
not increasing size or anything. Okay, any other questions or concerns?
So the 15 would definitely cause parking problems, because just looking at the map of the parking, it doesn't appear to have.
Again, it's 15 on one shift, so all 15 are there at the same time. Is that correct? Not just 15 that are employed by your
Right.
crew, but it's 15 that are there at one point in time.
That would be correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know that you'd be able to expand to that size per OCFS?
I know that they would have to do their licensing process with me all over again, and I would have to
Okay.
get licensed for that amount of children, based on my staff to student ratio.
And does OCFS look at whether or not the property can support the cars that would be coming and going for not just families with staff? Do you know if that's part of the application? 'Cause I'm not familiar with it to that level.
I know that they certainly look at square footage of the classrooms and room size, building size. So I would assume that the parking lot goes with that as well, but I can't give you that direct answer.
I have to ask it, although the room is empty right now, is there anyone in the audience wishing to be heard on the application of 55 Hoover Drive? I see no one coming forth.
So are we gonna keep it at 5 to 7? Or do you want to?
If we kept it at 5 to 7, could we state in the conditions that if there is growth beyond the 7, that the town reapproves readdresses the parking or, the capability to support the additional employees?
I think that would probably be a safe way to go with it.
Okay. Because I could state that when we talk about the maximum number of employees, that should expansion beyond the 7 occur or need to occur, that the town will, the applicant will, seek the town's,
How about
guidance.
5 to 7 employees with the possibility of expansion up to 15? However, at that time, conditions must be met regarding parking. And
No, I'd rather say.
But in the conditions, it's a max of,
A definitive number,
Okay,
so that, if it's 15, but then must be able to meet all other codes, including parking, circulation, because there's a number of things that come into play with more students or more child care.
Right.
She's been
Drop
working
off.
through all the agencies
Right.
with the 5 to 7 number to meet the criteria, staff with
Yeah.
children, so.
yeah, well, Ms. Adriano was just trying to give her flexibility
Way to-
for
way
if
to-
she does
yeah,
expand,
yeah.
but
Trying
currently
to-
there's only 5 to 7.
Yeah, we're trying to word this in a way that would save you from having to come back to expand your special use permit, but it sounds like we gotta write it for a max of 7, and then if you wanna expand past 7, just come back and get it in, because then they'll readdress whether or not the parking lot can sustain
And all the other
the traffic.
room size, all the
Yeah.
stuff that needs to be done inside, so.
There could be other issues with the fire marshal.
Oh,
and
there's a
everything
ton of
else.
issues that they have to be dealt with.
I would leave it at 5.
She probably
Yeah.
walking
Seven,
walking
yeah.
down these halls right now going, okay, I gotta have all these stuff done, so let's not put more things on her plate than.
Been fun.
than
I'd be
Make her
comfortable with
successful
saying
right out of the gate,
approximately 5 to 7. I would say not more than 7.
not more than 7.
But it's good to have those goals, you go for it, so.
You get that, not more than 7.
I have max of 7 for the condition, yes,
Per shift.
All right.
per shift,
For sure.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's actually written that way, yeah.
Very good. Any other questions or concerns?
I do not.
What's in there right now? It's currently in 55.
It was currently just a business professional. They were using it as like office.
Okay.
But yes, and then before that was a childcare center.
There was a childcare center before they're in there, so
Correct.
the building's been used for childcare previously.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, if I close the hearing, are you prepared with a motion?
Yes, I am, sir.
Then I'm going to close the public hearing on 55 Hoover Drive. Ms. Adriano for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just give me 30 seconds to jot some notes here. Okay, thank you. With regard to the application, with regard to the applicant Chelsea O'Mealy of PJ's Pals Child Care Center LLC and property owner Wegman Specialties, Inc. at the address 55 to 65 Hoover Drive in the BP Professional Business Zoning District, the request is for a special use permit to permit the operation of a licensed child care center within an existing commercial tenant located at 55 to 65 Hoover Drive in accordance with Chapter 211 of the Town of Greece Code. Whereas PJ's Pals Child Care Center LLC, the applicant, with the authorization of Wegman Specialties, Inc., the owner of property located at 55 to 65 Hoover Drive, Monroe County's tax parcel number 074.20-3-43, located within the professional business BP zoning district, which is the property, appeared before the Town of Greece Board of Zoning Appeals, the board, requesting a special use permit to permit the operation of a New York State Office of Children and Family Services, which is OCFS, licensed child care center within an existing commercial tenant space. And whereas child care centers are permitted within the professional business BP zoning district only upon the issuance of a special use permit by the Board of Zoning Appeals of pursuant to Chapter 211, Article 3 of the Town Code. And whereas the applicant proposes to renovate an existing commercial tenant space to provide childcare services for infants, toddlers, preschool-age children, and school-age children with no expansion of the existing building footprint or significant exterior site modifications. And whereas the board conducted a duly noticed public hearing on July 21st, 2026, at which the applicant, town staff, reviewing agencies, and members of the public were afforded an opportunity to present testimony, documentary evidence, and comments concerning the requested special use permit. And whereas the board reviewed the application, the short environmental assessment form, site plans, operational narrative, correspondence, supporting exhibits, and all testimony received at the public hearing. And whereas the board also considered comments and recommendations from town staff, the Monroe County Department of Planning and Development, the town attorney, and all other reviewing agencies having jurisdiction. And whereas the board has carefully and independently reviewed the application, documentary evidence, testimony, exhibits, written submissions, comments from reviewing agencies, and all other materials contained in the record, and finds that the applicant has demonstrated compliance with the standards governing special use permits contained in Chapter 211 of the Town Code. For the secret determination, the board finds that the proposed action constitutes an unlisted action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SECRA, Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law, and the implementing regulations contained in 6 NYCRR Part 617. The board has carefully reviewed the short environmental assessment form together with the application materials, site plans, operational information, testimony, and supporting documentation submitted in connection with the application. The board finds that the proposed action consists of the adaptive reuse and interior renovation of an existing commercial tenant space for a licensed child care center without expansion of the building footprint or significant site alterations. The board further finds that the proposed action is consistent with the existing commercial character of the site and will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts requiring preparation of an environmental impact statement. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Greece Board of Zoning Appeals hereby issues a negative declaration pursuant to SECRA.
We have a motion on SECRA, a second on Mr. Hartwig. Any discussion? If not, Melanie, would you call the roll?
Ms. Andriano?
Yes.
Mr. Hartwig?
Yes.
Mr. DeCamilla?
Yes.
Mr. Jensen?
Yes.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Chairman Malutis?
Yes, on the main motion.
The findings of fact regarding the property. Number one, the subject property is located at 55 to 65 Hoover Drive within the professional business BP zoning district. Number two, the subject property consists of an existing commercial building together with associated parking areas, drive aisles, sidewalks, landscaping, utilities, and related site improvements. Number three, the applicant proposes to occupy an existing tenant space within the building and convert that space into a licensed child care center serving infants, toddlers, preschool-age children, and school-age children. Number four, the proposed project consists primarily of interior renovations necessary to meet applicable building, fire, accessibility, and New York State Office of Children and Family Services licensing requirements. No expansion of the building footprint or significant site alterations are proposed. Number five, the proposed use requires a special use permit pursuant to Chapter 211 of the Town Code. Regarding the application, number 6, the applicant requested a special use permit to permit the operation of PJ's Pals Child Care Center within an existing commercial tenant space located at 55 to 65 Hoover Drive. Number 7, the applicant represented that the proposed child care center will provide care and early childhood education for infants, toddlers, preschool-age children, and school-age children within an existing commercial building. The facility will operate as a New York State Office of Children and Family Services licensed child care center. Number 8, the applicant represented that the child care center will operate Monday through Friday from approximately 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. However, to accommodate staff needs, the child care center location may be used by staff as early as 5 a.m. until 9 p.m. from 7 days a week, Saturday through Sunday. Number 9, the applicant represented that the facility will employ approximately 5 to 7 employees per shift during operating hours, depending upon enrollment and applicable staff to child ratios established by OCFS. Number 10, the applicant represented that the existing tenant space and overall commercial site contain adequate classroom space, restroom facilities, parking, vehicle circulation, and access to accommodate the proposed child care center without expansion of the building or significant exterior modifications. Number 11, the applicant represented that the proposed child care center will obtain and maintain compliance with all applicable licensing requirements of the New York State Office of Children and Family Services, together with all applicable building code, fire code, health department, and accessibility requirements. Number 12, the applicant represented that children utilizing the facility will always be supervised by qualified staff in accordance with applicable New York State Office of Children and Family Services regulations. At the public hearing, number 13, a duly noticed public hearing was held by the board on July 21st, 2026. Number 14, the applicant appeared before the board and presented testimony regarding the proposed child care center and answered questions from the board. Number 15, the board considered the application materials, testimony presented during the public hearing, comments received from the town staff, comments from reviewing agencies, and any comments offered by members of the public. Number 16, the board finds the testimony presented by the applicant to be credible and consistent with the documentary evidence contained in the record. Regarding special use permit findings, pursuant to Chapter 211 of the Town of Greece Code, the board makes the following findings. A, access to the site and adequacy of the property. The board finds that the subject property possesses adequate site area, parking, access drives, and internal circulation to accommodate the proposed child care center. The proposed use will occupy an existing tenant space within a commercial development designed to accommodate employees, parents, visitors, and service vehicles. The board further finds that the existing site provides adequate access for emergency vehicles, employees, parents, and visitors, and is of sufficient size to accommodate the proposed use. B, orderly development of the area. The board finds that the proposed child care center represents the adaptive reuse of an existing commercial tenant space and does not require expansion of the existing building or substantial alteration of the site. The board finds that the proposed use is compatible with the surrounding commercial development and will not adversely affect the orderly pattern of development within the professional business zoning district. The board further finds that the proposed use promotes the continued occupancy and productive reuse of an existing commercial tenant space. C, harmony with nearby uses. The board finds that the proposed child care center will operate during customary daytime business hours and that the nature, duration, and intensity of the proposed operations are compatible with surrounding commercial uses. The board finds that the proposed use will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood, nor will it create excessive noise, lighting, odors, or other impacts detrimental to surrounding properties. The board further finds that the proposed use is consistent with the character and intent of the professional business zoning district. D, public health, safety, and general welfare. The board finds that the proposed child care center will operate subject to the licensing requirements of the New York State Office of Children and Family Services, together with all applicable provisions of the New York State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code, the New York State Property Maintenance Code, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and all other applicable federal, state, county, and local regulations. The board further finds that the compliance with these regulations is intended to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the children, employees, visitors, and the surrounding community. Regarding traffic, the board finds that traffic associated with the proposed child care center will occur primarily during scheduled morning drop-off and afternoon pickup periods. No evidence was presented demonstrating that the proposed use will create unsafe traffic conditions. The board further finds that the existing parking facilities, access drives, and internal vehicle circulation are adequate to accommodate the anticipated traffic generated by the proposed use, and that the child care center will not create a detrimental impact upon traffic in the vicinity. Regarding public improvements, facilities, services, and utilities, the board finds that the proposed childcare center will utilize existing public utilities and municipal infrastructure currently serving the property. The board further finds that the proposed use will not impose an excessive burden upon public improvements, facilities, services, or utilities. Regarding consistency with the public interest, in reaching its determination, the board considered the impact of the proposed use upon the surrounding neighborhood and community. The board finds that permitting the operation of a licensed childcare center within an existing commercial tenant space promotes the productive reuse of an existing commercial space without requiring expansion of the existing building or substantial alteration of the site. The board finds that the proposed use provides an important community service by expanding access to licensed childcare opportunities within the town while making productive use of existing commercial infrastructure. The board further finds that the proposed childcare center is compatible with surrounding commercial uses and, subject to the conditions imposed herein, will not create an undesirable change in the neighborhood character, adversely affect nearby properties, impair the orderly development of the surrounding area, or adversely impact the public health, safety, or welfare. Accordingly, the board concludes that approval of the requested special use permit is consistent with the public health, safety, and welfare. The board further concludes the proposed special use permit satisfies the standards established by Chapter 211 of the Town Code and is consistent with the overall purposes and intent of the Professional Business BP zoning district. Now therefore, be it resolved that after due consideration of the application, testimony presented at the public hearing, the documentary evidence contained in the record, the recommendations of town staff and reviewing agencies, and the findings set forth herein, the Town of Greece Board of Zoning Appeals hereby approves the applicant's request for a special use permit to permit the operation of a licensed childcare center within an existing commercial tenant space located at 55 to 65 Hoover Drive, Monroe County, tax parcel number 074.20-3-43. In accordance with the findings contained herein and subject to the following conditions. Regarding conditions, number 1, approved use. This approval authorizes only the operation of a licensed childcare center substantially as presented to the board and described in the application materials. Number 2, governmental approvals. Prior to commencing operations, the applicant shall obtain all permits, licenses, inspections, and approvals required by the Town of Greece, the New York State Office of Children and Family Services, the Monroe County Department of Public Health, the Fire Marshal, and any other agency having jurisdiction. Number 3, building and fire code compliance. The applicant shall obtain all required building permits and certificates of occupancy and shall comply with all applicable provisions of the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code, the Property Maintenance Code, and accessibility requirements, and all applicable federal, state, county, and local laws and regulations. Number 4, regarding occupancy, the child care center shall not exceed the maximum occupancy or licensed capacity established by the building department in the New York State Office of Children and Family Services. Number 5, the child care center will operate Monday through Friday from approximately 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. And staff would be able to access the property from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. from Saturday through Sunday, 7 days a week. Number 6, the child care center will employ a maximum of 7 employees per shift during the operating hours. Number 7, regarding site improvements, any future exterior improvements to the property, including but not limited to playground equipment, fencing, parking modifications, lighting, landscaping, signage, or changes to site circulation, shall require all permits and approvals required by the Town of Greece. Nothing contained herein should be construed as approving any future site modifications not specifically reviewed by the board. Number 8, regarding operational changes, any material expansion or substantial change in the nature or intensity of the approved child care center, including expansion into additional tenant space or other significant operational changes, shall require further review and approval by the Town of Greece as required by the Town Code. Number 9, compliance with representations. Except as modified by this resolution, the child care center shall operate substantially in accordance with the plans, representations, and testimony submitted by the applicant and relied upon by the board in granting this special use permit. Number 10, regarding continuing compliance. Failure to comply with any condition contained herein shall constitute a violation of this approval and may result in enforcement action or revocation of the special use permit in accordance with the applicable law. Number 11, scope of approval.
This special use permit authorizes only the operation of a licensed childcare center substantially as approved herein. Any material changed in the approved use or material increase in the intensity of operations shall require further review and approval as required by Chapter 211 of the Town Code. So moved.
Second by Mr. Hartwig. On discussion, I think it was point 14 or 15 in your findings of fact. You referred to a date of the hearing. I thought I heard July 20th. Is that,
13, duly noticed public hearing was held by the board on July 21st, 2026. Did I say the wrong
I
date?
think so. Sorry, this is the 20. It's a 20.
I don't like being perfect, you know.
Also, she said Saturday to Sunday should be Sunday to Saturday.
Sunday, Saturday. Okay.
Sunday,
I'll
Saturday.
accept that.
Second accepts that.
I'll accept it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Melanie, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Andriano?
Yes.
Mr. Hartwig?
Yes.
Mr. DeCamilla?
Yes.
Mr. Jensen?
Yes.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Chairman Maludis?
Yes, your application has been approved with the conditions noted. Much luck to your business.
Thank you so much.
We hope it goes good.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, everyone.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for your patience
Yes,
too.
absolutely. Yes. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you. Do we have any modifications of neighborhood notifications? Anything else on the agenda? Nothing? Then we stand adjourned. Thank you.